welcome once again to our podcast Elevator Pitch. I'm Hazel, here with me.
Altair.
Thank you very much. So this one is going to be slightly different from our past episodes. If you've been listening, you'll know that the basic premise of Elevator Pitch is that we will pitch each other a film that the other hasn't seen, that we ourselves have seen, and then we'll talk about it, basically. But for this one, we decided we would watch together a TV show that both of us haven't watched. So the format for this one will be slightly different, but hopefully nonetheless no less enjoyable than our previous episodes.
Exactly.
And so we're just going to basically be doing 3 to 4 episodes at a time and talking about it. And the TV show that will be, well, I guess that we'll be quite busy with for a while yet, is The Sopranos.
Yay!
Woo! And the idea kind of came from this because I remember reading recently, actually, that The Sopranos had quite a big viewership or like resurgence during lockdown. A lot of people, especially among like Gen Z? Gen X? Gen Z?
Yeah. The young people.
People my age. And
oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was reading about that just this morning, actually. And obviously people still really enjoy it. It's still, it holds up from its original run in 1999. And people find this kind of new relevance in it. And so I'd never seen it. You'd never seen it. And obviously it's quite famous for being one of, I guess, the show that kind of kicked off prestige TV, that kind of made TV serious.
Yeah.
As like a story, like storytelling as an art form. It kind of kicked off like this golden age of TV that we're living in. A lot of lists that talk about best TV shows always have Sopranos somewhere in the top.
I even read yesterday that I think the MoMA has it, like, did an exhibition on The Sopranos, and it is classified as one of the categorized as one of the best TV shows ever. So I was very, very not surprised, because when it was running, I did hear that a lot of people were watching it and that it was very good, but I didn't know it was like MoMA good. Like even like the MoMA would dedicate an exhibition or a special section to the show. So
I mean, I'd always heard, like, in the recent years that obviously The Sopranos is one of the big ones, and so and I never really got around to watching it, so we thought it would be an ideal opportunity. But like I looked up on GQ, no less, this article that said that viewership went up 179% during the first lockdown of Sopranos on HBO, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. And actually, weirdly, I think it was one of the actors who'd been on the show or someone who'd worked on the show saying that when it aired in 1999, HBO only had like 11 million subscribers, which obviously compared to today isn't.
It's peanuts.
Exactly. To the world that we live in now.
Yeah.
That actually, ironically, more people are watching it now than
back in the day
when it first aired. So
nice.
Yeah. And it was, I read it was originally conceived as a movie. It was really supposed to be a movie.
Yeah. I was reading that the creator, David Chase, like, he had done a few other pilots for other shows that didn't work out, and he shot, like, he sold this idea to HBO as a TV show, and then he shot the pilot.
Oh yeah, I remember reading this as well.
Yeah, and then he said, well, everybody, I think I wrote it something like, you were great. Unfortunately, nobody's ever going to watch this. That's what he said to all the cast when they finished, when they wrapped.
Because they shot this in like 1997 as well, didn't they?
And then, like, apparently his plan was, okay, we're going to shoot this as a pilot, and probably HBO is not going to like it for a show, but they're probably going to try to cut their losses and give me more money to finish it as a TV film.
Yeah.
And that was where he was aiming for. But yeah,
That's not how it.
That's
things
not
worked
how
out.
it worked, David.
And aren't you glad?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also read that David Chase originally only wanted to do like 2 seasons, and then HBO just threw money at them.
Yeah, money, money, money.
Pay rises for everyone, so he could not very easily say no to that. So they kept going.
Yeah.
The one thing I do know that I was familiar with The Sopranos is the ending. Like, I know that the ending is like this, I don't know if it's controversial, but that people are still, it's one of those finales that's still talked about, that people are still trying to work out.
Yeah, I like doing the research for this episode. Like a lot of the articles and videos were like the Sopranos finale explained what really meant,
what that really meant.
What that really meant, and I was like, okay. But I don't know anything about the finale. Like I the only thing that I knew about The Sopranos is it's about mobsters. That's the only thing that I didn't even know that it was about him going to the psychiatrist.
No, I was just slightly familiar with the psychiatrist from like a couple of YouTube videos. That's. I mean, I do remember a BoJack Horseman joke where Todd has to climb out a window and trying to escape from his girlfriend's father. I think 'cause he's come home and he's working the father worked as an editor on The Sopranos. And then he uses like the film to hang himself out the window, and then it rips, and that's supposed to be the explanation for why it suddenly cuts to black.
I didn't pay attention to that.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, that's that reference.
Okay.
BoJack Horseman, if anyone wants to.
I mean, that's the one of the best TV shows ever.
Should also be mentioned.
Yeah, so we should do like an episode of only praising BoJack Horseman. Like
a very dull episode.
Exactly. But no, let's stick to The Sopranos for now.
Yeah, just for the moment, for the next couple of months.
Yeah.
David Chase was also in therapy at the time, which is, I think, what helped inspire some of this.
Interesting, yeah.
And Fellini inspired the cinematic style. I was very impressed with we'll get into that.
Yeah.
But the direction of the episodes.
Yeah.
And also, this is a fun fact, I didn't know this, the show, The Sopranos, has 27 actors in common with Goodfellas.
I mean, yeah, that's one of my notes. It's very... Yeah, it's very aware of what it is doing, and it has all these references to all these mobster films.
Yeah.
And like I noticed that, like I saw like the actors like, okay, this is the guy from here, and yeah, I think
and then Martin Scorsese shows up.
But it wasn't him.
Wasn't it not?
I don't think so. Was he?
What did you say? What was in the credits? Was he
no, like I read Martin Scorsese.
Yeah.
As the name of the character. Like I didn't see.
Okay.
I didn't see the name of the actor, but probably not. I don't know if Marty
would have. He would agree to
maybe
that.
not so early on. Maybe like.
Yeah,
but true. We can like if you know whether it was Martin Scorsese, let us know.
Let us know.
But I just assumed that it wasn't.
Okay. Maybe that's just me being naive. I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, because I assume maybe if all these actors worked on like Goodfellas.
Yeah.
That one of them called a favor.
Hey, Marty.
Hey. Did you fancy?
Remember that time?
This monster TV show.
Exactly. We'll Google that. And for the Sopranos episode, we'll come up with the truth. We'll reveal.
Everyone can sit on the edge of their seat and wait another 3 weeks.
If you love us, you will do it.
Instead of Googling it yourself once you finish listening to this.
They probably just Googled it right now.
Obviously, yeah. Like, you can immediately try and Google that. I'm sure IMDb has the answer.
Okay, but let's move on.
Yeah, so now we're just going to go through the first 3 episodes of season 1. Bear with us because we're still getting to know who everyone is if we don't remember all the characters, which is basically everyone except Tony.
Yeah.
We'll just refer to them in relation to Tony. Right, so trying to be loyal to the format as much as possible with this one, because we know we're actually neither one of us is familiar with the show so far, except for the 3 episodes we just watched. But still try to come up, I guess, with a pitch of, I guess, what I gained from the pilot or the first 3 episodes, what this show was trying to pitch me, I guess, about what the story is going to be about. My personal pitch for this show would be, through his therapy sessions, we gain access into Tony Soprano's world full of gangsters, family disputes, and mummy issues.
Good.
Thank you. I try.
Yeah.
So I guess we can talk about what we sort of expected going into this.
Yeah.
Well, I obviously knew, I knew a little bit about The Sopranos, and I know it kind of started off these character studies of anti-heroes, so I knew it was going to be about him. But I think I was maybe more surprised about, and I knew he was someone who lived in he was a gangster who lived in the suburbs, and so his family would also be involved. I think maybe I'm conditioned by these gangster films. I thought the gangstering, the mafia stuff would take more center stage, and actually I was surprised that it didn't. And I think I was also quite positively surprised that all the stuff where they do
mob
things, exactly, that they seemed they were kind of presented not in this like glamorous way, but just almost matter of fact, and that they were just part of his life. But I found like it struck a good balance between this shady underworld and the business that they're running, and also interweaving that with not only like his main family, like his wife and children, but also how the whole, they're both intertwined. That there's also 2 families, but then his actual related family, blood family, is part of this mafia family, and how that intertwines with that. So that was my impression of the show.
Okay.
That I was also pleasantly surprised with his therapy sessions. I thought that was really intriguing, and I'm very interested to see how that goes moving forward. Yeah.
Like, I had no idea of what of course I had the idea of it's about mobsters. I thought it was going to be more like Breaking Bad which is very, in Breaking Bad you see like the transformation of this character into this evil thing. I thought he was just going to be this evil thing, this evil mafia boss, and we were going to get inside this dark underworld of the mafia.
Yeah, exactly.
And that the show was mainly about backstabbing, and I thought it was maybe not The Godfather, but maybe like the Goodfellas in TV format.
Yeah.
I thought it was that, maybe a little bit more, a little bit darker. But yeah, like I didn't know that much about the show before. I didn't know about the therapist.
I think that was also, I think maybe my expectation for Tony itself was challenged within the first episode of just A is in therapy, which I wasn't really expecting. And also the whole, like his whole obsession with the ducks, which is something very sweet and innocent. That is so gives
another color to, to the character. I thought he was going to be like this very cool bad guy, and it's actually a very sweet bad guy. But I think it's
very sympathetic.
Exactly. I think like the sweet spot of his and the thing with the dogs, and of course the humor were for me like, oh, nice. I hadn't expected that, that a show from the late 90s would be so complex, or it would have so many levels. I actually thought I thought it was older. Younger. I thought that
more recent.
More recent, exactly. Thank you. I think it was from like 2002 or something like that. And I think like in one of the first episodes, he opens up the paper and like the headline has something to do with Clinton.
Yeah.
And so I thought, oh, this the show is set in the 90s. But I thought like it aired like in the 2000s, and okay, they're setting up in the 90s, because you do see
Yeah.
the just
It trickles through.
Yeah, I mean you with the CD player. When he goes and takes and brings his mom the CD player and the CDs, I also thought, okay, so they're letting us know that this is the 90s with that reference. And then I go, oh no, it is actually from the 90s. So yeah, that's how clueless I was about the setting of the show. But.
Yeah. I could also I have to say, because a lot of these other shows like Mad Men and Breaking Bad were influenced by The Sopranos. It did, I guess, create the formula in quotation marks. And I could see a lot of what we're used. I think because we're used to it now, I could see a lot of that origin in those first few episodes.
Yeah.
So I think I maybe wasn't expecting that as much. I felt like maybe for obviously for like the 90s, this was like a brand new thing.
Yeah.
And maybe by today's standards, it wouldn't seem quite as complex or I guess morally ambiguous. But it still was, and it was still, particularly the relationships between the characters were very far complexer than I was expecting, actually.
Yeah, I think, if you see it by today's standards, is like very safe, maybe you would say, in terms of, for example, I think this changes moving forward, but like I think like the violence scenes like are still a bit like discreet, we're not seeing this.
Yeah, that was one thing for HBO.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just I'm used to Game of Thrones standards now, but
that's what I mean. I think like by today's standards, the violence on the show is like very like tame, exactly.
Yeah.
So that for me was like,
for
okay,
now.
Exactly. Like when I saw that, I was like, okay, this feels not from now.
Yeah.
But then okay, it's not from now, of course. But I see why people felt drawn to it, because I do think it is it must have been back then like a very new and an unusual portrayal of a bad guy.
Yeah.
Even like I was reading that one of the doubts that the producers were having before agreeing to do the pilot was, can we have a criminal as a leading role, as our main character?
Are people going to be able to follow and sympathize
exactly with because like a bad guy is the antagonist.
Exactly. I mean, that was like a brand new thing really back then.
Yeah, and in that way, I think it's even pushing the envelope a little bit more than, for example, Breaking Bad, because in Breaking Bad, you see he is a nice guy. Walter
he starts off, and he's a nice, and develops,
and then you see, okay, this situation makes him go that direction.
Yeah,
but Tony is not. He's just.
He's
a mobster from the beginning. So I can see what the doubts were and how people must have felt fascinated by this character, this mobster who was having trouble
with his ducks. And panic attacks.
Yeah. Poor Tony. Like I really have like in my notes like poor Tony.
Sad face.
Exactly.
Yeah. There was a definite moment where I felt really sorry for the guy.
Yeah. We are all humans.
We're all humans.
Even monsters are humans.
Even bad guys.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go into plot details now. So spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. You can watch it with us.
Exactly. That would be fun.
That would be fun.
Yeah, you can watch it with us. Like,
if you can hold yourself back from waiting 3 weeks for 3 episodes, or you can watch one episode a week.
Exactly, and then you're all caught up with us.
Yeah.
For when we release these special episodes.
Yeah. Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go. We start off with the pilot.
Yep.
Thoughts
on the pilot?
On the pilot, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I don't know if it is, and I apologize to all the die-hard fans of the Sopranos. I don't know if it's a good pilot.
Really? Because that's
Yeah.
now I'm gonna call you out.
Yeah.
Because I did read that it's like considered one of the best pilots.
Really,
in
I
TV
don't
show.
know.
Because I like the setup. Like I like the therapy as a framing device. I
Yeah.
think it's a good way to introduce us into the world. I
Yeah,
guess.
but I mean, I say that I don't know if it's a good pilot in the sense that I don't know if it does what a pilot is supposed to do. Or maybe I'm just doing it and just evaluating it in like today's television.
Okay.
Maybe I should get more in the mindset of the late 90s, because I think like a pilot nowadays is supposed to hook you, and to like the ending of the pilot
Oh, I see.
should make you want to, I have to see the second episode. I don't think the ending of this pilot makes me want to think, I want to watch the next episode. I think it ends. I don't know. I think I have a problem with the ending. I think like I really like the before, but the ending, I think it ends on a very low note for me.
Okay.
And for me, it felt like a little bit anticlimactic. It felt like,
I mean, I
is
guess
that it?
maybe that has something to do with the production history of it.
Maybe because they end and they just go to the
Pool.
yeah, and I was like, okay, and shouldn't there be something else?
Oh, okay.
So
I'm quite interested because I was quite.
but what do I know? I mean,
What are we doing here?
where am I?
No, because that's quite interesting. Because I tend to struggle sometimes with starting TV shows because I've started some TV shows that people have told me are like really really good, and then I could watch like the first or second episode and not honestly be that interested in watching anymore and not really get what people are going on about. But I was quite involved with the story that the pilot gave me. I think it was more maybe I was already kind of in some way kind of prepped for what I was expecting of more like a character study, which is from what I understand this is what this is. And I think I was just kind of quite involved in Tony and his relationship with, I mean, obviously not only him being like this mob boss, but also just like his family life and his relationship with his mother and this conflict with his uncle and all this stuff. So I think I was maybe like more drawn in. I didn't find the end. For me, it's not always the ending, I guess, personally, that really needs to drag me in. It's just like the whole episode as a whole.
Yeah. No, it's just that I really liked the whole setup, and I enjoyed it, and I think that for me at least the most interesting part of the character is his relationship, his personal relationships. Like because I think maybe so far maybe like the mobster side is like any other mobster storyline that we've seen.
This.
But I think what really brings something very interesting to the character is like, okay, we're kind of like humanizing it in a way.
Yeah.
That is like, okay, look at this guy who has
He's just like you.
Exactly. He just kills people for a living.
Exactly.
No, but I really felt this connection, and one of my notes is that where are you? That I really, well, I don't know, I cannot read it, but I know that it is what appealed to me was I really felt for him. At some point I was like, oh, poor guy, all this stress with the mom.
Yeah.
It's like, come
God.
on, poor Tony.
Yeah.
All this stress, like the family, like it really got me. Like, of course I understand why he had all those anxiety attacks.
I know, but that's what I found quite interesting because I think you have all these. I mean, I must say, like, I haven't watched quite that many like mobster movies or gangster movies, but the idea is always kind of this very masculine, obviously like violent male, like underworld type thing, and this idea that we're brought into this world because he had like a panic attack. Which I think is really unusual. And then obviously the whole setup of it, like he's going to therapy, like he's actively talking about his life to a therapist, which I think is a really unusual way to
portray.
To address this type of character, really.
I think he doesn't like the idea of being in therapy and what that
exactly.
would mean. Maybe it means weakness, or there's still stigma about people who go to therapy. But I think he feels the need to go because it's the only place where he can talk about this stuff, right? The only place where he's not giving orders, he's just talking and showing emotion in a way, and being real in a way, being honest to himself, maybe. Like, I think he's always he's the dad or he's the mob boss, and in this therapist's office he gets to be Tony, whoever that is.
Yeah, because she does make that point of, why are you so happy? You're feeling better, and it can't be the drugs because that takes a while to build up. So I think her suspicion was that it was because of therapy that they can talk.
Yeah, definitely. And I think he likes it. He likes being there. He just doesn't like the idea of what it represents, and
that it could be the symbol of, I guess, weakness potentially.
Exactly.
In his world in particular,
exactly.
Like the fact that he only tells his wife, he wouldn't tell anyone else.
Exactly.
No one else can know.
No, I loved that, and I have another note that is I love that paradox of him going to therapy, but the therapist say, "Hey, there are some things that you cannot tell me because I have to go to the police." I felt, oh shit,
yeah.
Like
I find that really interesting. That it's obviously really obvious that everyone knows exactly what he does.
Yeah, exactly. So I found that that's gonna be very interesting. Like up until what point can you share? When you're supposed to be so open in therapy, but there are some things that you cannot. So that really, I thought it was very interesting.
But I also found that interesting in terms of Melfi's character, because it says you could have a therapist who's very like, okay, I know what you do, I don't want to talk to you. I don't really want to help you.
Yeah.
And you could take that moral stance, I guess, and the fact that she's actively,
I
guess almost, in a way, like laying out the rules and telling him you can't tell me this is kind of, protecting him, really.
It's like she's acting in a way like an accomplice. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. She gets involved in that in a way.
Yeah. I liked all that, but I do think that, I don't know, I think the ending of the first episode should have been a little bit stronger. But I mean, obviously it was strong enough for people to keep watching. So, but that's
who are we to say?
Yeah, exactly. No, but that's like my only note that I felt like, I would have liked to end and not slide it higher. No, because the other episodes, it's not like they end like with cliffhangers or anything. The other two that we saw, but I don't know. It felt to me at least like a little bit more of a natural ending. Like I said like, okay, this has to end here. It's like a dot, and then I know that the next episode is gonna expand on that. But for the first episode, I think for me it ended like in the middle of the sentence. For me.
Okay, because I was expecting, because the whole setup is with these ducks in the pools, so I was anticipating something
Me too.
with the ducks.
I think that was also for me. Like, I thought that the ducks are gonna come back.
Exactly, yeah.
And I
something
thought,
like that.
and I kept waiting, and it just faded to black. It just faded to black, and I was like, oh.
But I'm guessing there's some symbolism in that.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, but that's. I'm sorry, but that's my. But I really enjoyed it up until that point. It's just that ending was for me like, okay. I don't know if I had seen it back then. I don't know if being who I am right now. I don't know if I would have watched the next episode. Maybe I would. I would have.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wouldn't be a definite yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But,
interesting. Yeah. And I also think the episode sets up like the tone of the show quite nicely, because it was a lot funnier than I was expecting it to be, actually.
Yeah, no, like I was very surprised. I thought this was going to be like a full like bloody bloodbath, you know.
Yeah, from what I've heard, yeah.
And that it was going to
serious.
be and that it was going to be like really violent and dark, and it's very funny.
Yeah.
Very funny.
Really
Like
funny.
I actually I was reading one book about. I have this book. It's called Difficult Meant Difficult Men,
Yep.
and it's about all these anti-heroes in the third gold era of golden television.
Yeah.
And they were saying that, I mean, of course, The Sopranos came into a time it broke a lot of rules, and it said like push boundaries. But they said that part of the success of the show might have been that the setup made people believe, this is going to be a story about reforming this guy who's reforming.
Yeah.
You know, it's this mobster who is going to change through the power of therapy and
Yeah.
and the love of his family. That
Yeah.
they say that probably a lot of viewers thought that
We're
that was
expecting that.
what that's what the show was going. And since it had so many comedy elements, they thought, this is going to be
Okay.
very lighthearted. This is going to be fun. I don't know. I think this one came out before Analyze That or Analyze This. So maybe it doesn't come to place. But yeah, like they say that maybe that's why it was so shocking for people, that it had kind of like this slightly light mood, and people thought that, this is going to be a comedy.
Yeah. Although that's
And
interesting because particularly that scene, like they're in the car and they're chasing that guy down
yeah,
who owes them money.
yeah.
That whole scene is like, I mean, the music that's used for when he's like driving the car, chasing after him is like very humorous.
Yeah.
But like you realize the tone is quite, I don't know how to put it. It's not well, because it's a dark sense of humor,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
So I find it interesting that people would assume that it's going to be like a lighter show, because it's quite not, I guess, cynical humor in a way.
Yeah. But it's not what you think, I guess. When you think, it's a show about a mobster, especially when you have Goodfellas and the Godfather, which are
Yeah.
not funny.
Yeah.
So I guess that having that sprinkle of humor was for people. Oh, okay, so this is totally different. Because of course back then I still think that the borders between genres were very strong. It's not like today that we have all these dramedies and action comedies and all these things that mix both.
Yeah.
So maybe people saw these sprinkles of humor. So, okay, so this is not going to be actually that serious or that dark.
Yeah.
But I was pleasantly surprised with the humor. It was so funny. I found it like very, very funny.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, definitely. I was not
Yeah.
expecting it to be that funny.
Yeah, I really enjoyed, especially on the second episode, I think, when the mom runs over
Oh
the
my
friend.
god! Yeah.
I thought it was so funny. Like we see the mom running over this friend of hers,
Yeah.
also an old lady.
Yeah.
And then we cut back to Tony at the doctor's office,
Mm-hmm.
and he says like, she broke her
Oh, yeah.
her
Her
wrist and has some scratches. And I love
the
like
therapist is like, and the
the
other
other
woman?
And I thought that was so
Yeah.
brilliantly funny.
Yeah.
I thought it was really, really, really funny. I really enjoyed that. I really like that about the show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, and I think, I mean, shall we talk about the whole ducks and the
Yeah,
symbolism?
definitely.
Because I'm guessing that's supposed to be. I'm guessing it's like having a midlife crisis,
Yeah.
if I understand that right. So I
Yeah.
think already that's quite, again, interesting in the context of have this whole genre around gangsters.
Mm-hmm.
And you get the sense that you, as a viewer, you're taken into this world that's, I guess, forbidden.
Mm-hmm.
And you think it's quite mysterious and I guess cool in a way.
Yeah.
And then you're presented with this guy who is a gangster, but who is also just kind of stifled by his life,
Yeah.
or his life in the suburbs, I
Mhm.
guess, that is still capable of having a midlife crisis.
Yeah. Yeah.
And is fascinated with a group of ducks.
Yeah, it was funny. I really liked how they personally turned me around. The first scene where we see the dogs and he's trying to lure them to the pool.
Yeah.
Like I thought, ugh, I even said it. Like, why would you want ducks
Ducks
in
in your pool. Yeah, we said that to each other. They were like, why would you dirty ducks in your pool?
Exactly. And then,
And he's also like throwing bread, like throwing the
yeah,
bread in the pool.
yeah. So for me, it was like, why? And then when I think he's at the therapist's office, and he says, like, I think he says that it all started, like all this depression started when the docs left.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
like it really, like it's also his performance, which I think it was really sweet, like to see this big guy
Exactly,
really
yeah.
affected by this little thing about these dogs that just
But
left.
they just left.
But it really made me feel like, oh, poor thing, stupid dogs. Why don't you?
Why would you leave him?
Exactly. So no, I think it is like very. It's not on the nose.
No,
It's
no.
very sweet and I really like the
good
whole
use of symbolism.
Yeah, I really liked it. It moved me.
But do you think? See, because I in therapy, when she asks him what did the ducks mean to you? Why were they so important to you? Or why did these panic attacks start after the ducks left? And he says his answer is sort of this fear of losing his family. But now I wondered if you believed him, because I interpreted it as
what family? The real family of his mob family?
That's the thing. There's also two families, isn't there? Yeah. So that's a question. Which family? But I also wanted, seeing as it started after they left, whether it was the fact that these ducks could leave, like they could escape, and he was still trapped where he was.
Yeah.
That was more about his own sense
of feeling trapped.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like when, I don't know if I maybe it's not that I didn't believe him. I just didn't believe that to be a real reason, in the sense that I don't see a threat of his family leaving up until that point. Like, he has a perfect life.
Well,
right?
I don't know if he means like losing them as if they would leave him rather than
like
they
would
something.
Die. Okay.
Something would happen to them.
Okay. I don't know. Like, I didn't. Yeah. No. I don't think that is the. I think I buy more your explanation that he's afraid of losing his family, either because they leave or they get killed.
Yeah.
I thought, to me, it was like, oh,
I'm not sure I quite believe you, Tony.
Exactly. Yeah. I guess maybe it's more of these things that you have, the power and all the status, and that they, as quickly as that, they can just leave, because at the end of the day, you cannot control everything.
Yeah.
So, like, I think that's more of maybe lack of control. Like, you cannot make these birds stay.
Yeah.
Like, it's something, because someone as him that is supposed to be in control and is supposed to lead all these mobsters.
Yeah.
It must be very frightening to all of a sudden lose control of something, right? And anxiety comes from this idea of you wanting to control all the variables, and you can. So
or being in this this power of position that
exactly.
he is, and yet still feeling trapped or powerless.
And
like
powerless,
particularly, I think particularly in his relationship with his mother, I think there's such a power. Like, it's this big towering guy, and this little, what seems like a little frail old woman, but she is a real nasty piece of work. And I know he's and obviously the point is that he's not a great guy, but it was also like, I found so fascinating this inner conflict that he has of not really wanting to admit that he probably hates his mother. And feeling, I guess, a sense of being then a disappointment or a bad son. If he admitted that, or if he left her alone, and yet that he obviously can't stand her and he can't do anything right in her eyes, but then also feeling, I have to look after her in a sense, regardless of whether she wants me to or not. So it was interesting, these different layers, how he can have power and control in one area of his life, but be completely at a
Yeah.
loss in another part.
Yeah, like in the readings that I did, they did mention this idea of this powerful man being kind of like broken down through his mother and his wife. I guess we still haven't seen the wife on that role,
yeah.
but probably we'll see it in the future.
Because that's what he says about his father, isn't it? Like
Mhm.
that his mother broke him down
Yeah.
and wore him down.
So yeah, no, I think it's yeah, no, I think, and you said this guy who's supposed to be like a bad guy. And I guess technically he is, but I have a soft spot for anti-heroes. So
Oh, me too,
for
definitely.
me, it's like, oh,
I love
poor
anti-heroes.
Tony, poor Tony, you're a nice guy, Tony.
That's the beauty of them.
Yeah,
It's so complex.
but no, yeah, but we should, like, if again, BoJack Horseman taught us something, is that we
should
cannot
not root for this guy.
Exactly, we cannot idolize anti-heroes. But yeah, I mean, I think it's yeah, when you see him with the mom, yeah, I think that's the main relationship that I'm most interested in. Yeah, just like, oh, he brought you a CD player, and come on, mom, let's go to. It's not a nursery home. It's a retirement facility.
Yeah, it's a retirement home. Yeah.
Exactly, but and also it must speak about the whole relationship of what you just said, right? Of not being able to admit that you hate at least a part of your own family.
Yeah.
I mean, they're probably, if they're I'm gonna do a very politically incorrect tracking down, but if they're probably if they're mobsters,
Right.
they're Italian, right? Like at least the last names are Italian descent.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
from what I understand, it's
Yeah.
like these are Italian Americans who happen to be in the
mafia.
in
And
the
we're not
mafia.
saying that
We're
all
not saying that
Italian-
every
exactly.
Italian American, because I know that was a criticism leveled at. the show.
Exactly.
We're not
No,
gonna say that.
but if they are Italian, then they're probably Catholic.
Yeah. I mean, they mentioned that.
So I
That's
guess
another point I wanted to talk
yeah.
about.
So
actually.
that probably also comes from that, like
This guilt.
his inability of
Yeah.
admitting this is because you're not supposed to. You should, one of the 10
Honor
Commandments says you should honor your father and your mother.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's yeah, it's very interesting to see that relationship.
Yeah, because that was something I was gonna, I wanted to talk about, was like the wife, because I find it interesting because she talks about, I think she talks about religion at some point, or Catholicism, and it made me wonder how she kind of reconciles, because she must know what Tony does,
Yeah.
and yet she is very much about, I guess, being a moral
Yeah.
person, I think.
Yeah, I guess we will have to see how a little bit more about their relationship, how they met. I don't know if we'll get to see that, but maybe we would have to see. Okay, how did they meet? Maybe they met, they fell in love, and then he got into the mafia, and then it was too late. Or
Well, no, because from what I understand is that his father was, he kind of
like the
built
mom.
up
yeah.
the
But maybe she didn't know. I don't know, because it's not. I guess we would. My point is, we would have to see if she started dating him already knowing he was in the mafia or not, because I guess that changes. Maybe if she was already in love with him when she find out that he was in the mob,
yeah,
maybe it's a little bit more difficult for
Okay.
her to
yeah,
walk away.
yeah.
Love makes us do stupid things.
Love is overrated.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Because I was also curious about his wife goes around after his mother nearly burns the kitchen down.
Yeah.
She goes around and says, "Well, don't you want to live with us?" And then later on, I think it's, oh no. Tony says that his wife doesn't
Yeah.
want her there.
Yeah.
So I was curious, like, who do you think was telling the truth there?
I think he was lying. I think he doesn't want her there, and he's just using the wife as an excuse. Because I do believe that, I think it's Carmela is the name of the character.
Okay.
I do think that she is willing, which I think it's a very nice thing of her. I wouldn't do it, maybe,
Yeah.
to have like someone. I mean, it's difficult to take care. Like you don't only have to take care of two children, but also about of an.
Because that's the
another-
thing, because they must have been married for quite a while,
Yeah.
so she'll know what his mother is like.
Yeah, exactly.
And the fact that she would offer that is quite generous, really.
Yeah. Not like I thought it was. Yeah, I guess I still need to know her a little bit more. The wife, I still don't know who she is.
Yeah.
I still don't have like a clear idea of her as a character. But I believed that her offer was sincere. I just thought that Tony was using her as an excuse not to have his, because I don't think he wants her there. I think he really wants her to just
get in this damn retirement home.
Exactly.
The wife is called
Carmela.
Just interesting to see how her character, not only her character but also her role develops. Because it seems like she's playing this, I guess, moral character at the moment. But like I say, the fact that she probably knows what Tony does.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be interesting to see who she is and who she ends up being, because that last scene of her like taking away her hand from his at the daughter's concert.
Was it him? I thought it was her.
No, exactly. Like she took took away his her hand.
Yeah.
Because she had just found out that he cheated on her with this other woman, with the wife of of Guido. I think it's the name of the character.
Guido, yeah, the restaurant owner.
So, but yeah, it's interesting to see her dynamic with him, because they seem like they love each other. I mean, in that scene when they're having breakfast, like I think when he's straight from the pool, and like they dance and they play, but then when they are at the CT scan, she's a little bit more tough. So I want to see maybe a little bit more of their dynamic. I don't know if I've seen enough
to make a judgment
on their relationship. But
interesting setups. And then and then there was also, again, complex relationship setups. His uncle, that I found was quite interesting, and that he was again, it seems like a parallel to his mother, that he idolizes his uncle, and yet his uncle now resents him for being the boss. And it makes you wonder if his mother, because it seemed like his mother and uncle are sort of plotting against him.
Definitely.
How that will evolve.
I guess in all mafia plots, there's a lot of betrayal, and double and backstabbing going on. I don't know. I think it's more, for me at least, his relationship with the uncle was a little bit more distant. I think he respects him. I don't know how strong that would be.
How do you mean?
Like, I don't know, like if eventually he, like, right now I can imagine Tony killing the uncle in the future. I don't see that with the mom. Maybe because it's his mom, but
different relationship.
Because
I guess my question is, again, I'm still trying to work out who everyone is. Is like at the end of the third episode, that guy gets killed in the bath, and then we turn around and it sees his uncle. I guess the question, I'm trying to work out what that means.
Because again, like we were talking the other day, that usually mob plots are a bit complicated to follow.
Who everyone is, and
who everyone is, what is the thing they're fighting for now. But I think this one the thing was that he was payback for the whole thing with the truck.
Because that was the thing with it's all wrapped up with these truck robberies. Then it's like, were the trucks owned by him then? Was that what that was about? I'm so sorry. I know there's people probably yelling at us right now, but
I think yeah.
have to rewatch it.
Yeah, I think we will have to rewatch it to understand a little bit better the that those little things, because like I get all the relationships and all the stuff, but the plot in terms of they did this and this drug belongs to this one.
Yeah, who everyone is. Yeah.
It was for me a bit like
I'm trying to pay attention.
yeah. But no, I think it's in the third episode that we clearly see like Uncle asking for advice from Tony's mom.
From the mum, yeah.
Which I think it's an interesting, I think even her performance changed, right? She didn't look so lost in that scene. And so, like, I don't know, like, I think before I had seen it as even a bit senile.
Yeah, because I think that's the question, isn't it? It's like, is she really... Well, I guess she is, because we see her in these private moments, like with the kitchen, like with the mushrooms burning, and then with the car.
Yeah, but then in this scene, she looked like she was very clear, very aware, very present.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, is this all just an act to look harmless in a way?
I don't know, because I mean, her act got her into this residential home now that she didn't want to be in, unless she was lying about that. But why resist that then?
Yeah, I don't know. I just to make to I don't know, to seem more like harmless, and she's actually not harmless. Because that was something that I wondered, why does this guy come to this old lady for advice? And then I was rewatching one of the scenes this morning, and Tony asks her to talk to the uncle.
Yeah.
And he says he respects you. So I thought that was interesting. Okay, so this woman has more power than she's making us believe,
or that we've been led to believe.
Exactly. So I think that's also going to be an interesting character
plot
to develop. Like I think it's a very interesting, like you said, character study so far.
I'm interested to see how much more his kids get involved.
Yeah.
As well, because we get this slight bit. I guess we don't really get the son so much yet.
Yeah.
But with the daughter, you have, I guess, more minor plot points where I think the first 2 episodes she just has this, not feud, but she isn't really getting on with her mother at the moment, and then in the next one they try and get drugs to study for their exams. So I'm interested to see what her or his children, how they're affected by his job, I guess, his life, and how they develop in that sense, if they go down the same road as him, or if they decide, actually, no, we want to be better than you, Dad.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting, I think, to see, and maybe, well, we'll see, because I was going to say, like, to look at the show and see how today's standards like influence the way we see the show, because like it changed a lot in television.
Yeah,
but I think like you and me are now a little bit more like used to seeing like dark stuff and violent stuff and this more of anti-hero characters.
We're completely numb to it now.
Yeah. So I guess I think it's gonna be interesting to see if the characters and the plot holds up. But yeah, I think I think my favorite thing is the humor.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that to be on the show.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Some good talking points.
Yeah. Do you want to give me 5 things that you liked about the or well, it doesn't have to be a number. Like I don't know if you have like specific things that you liked about it.
You start with that.
Oh yeah. No, like
Let me mull on it for a moment.
No, like I really liked like I'm a sucker also for like pop culture references, and they have a lot, and I think it's very self-aware that it is of the genre it is playing into, and it's like this characters watch The Godfather and read or
And Goodfellas.
yeah, and exactly, and play lines of Goodfellas, and like you said, there have like many actors that were from Goodfellas, like the therapist played like a very important role in the film.
Yeah.
So I really like that. I really like how self-aware it is, and how it references all those things. I think if you're probably watching The Sopranos, you like mobster films.
Yeah.
So I think you would get like, look, he said this, and he mentioned that, and this is from this movie. So I think that's always a nice way to connect with the audience. I really like again the humor.
Yeah.
I found it like that's really
Can
surprising.
I hook into
Yeah,
that?
yeah, of course.
I'd say one of the standout moments for me in the 3 episodes was, like I say, I mentioned it earlier, the car chase in the first episode where he hunts them down, because I thought that was a clever way of, I guess, again, like in the times, like you're playing this for laughs almost with the music that they chose, and it's kind of has slightly comical elements, but then I guess I felt like they're pulling the rug out from under you, where suddenly like they're beating the shit out of this guy, and everyone's watching horrified, and I think that in a way it was playing with your expectations, or maybe loyalty towards this character, that you are reminded that they may have this, I guess, kind of dark or like cynical humor that you can enjoy, but that he's also capable of these acts of violence, I think.
Yeah. No, I really like for example, one of my things that I have on my notes is I really like the mix of like everyday life and this very out of the ordinary situations. Like I really enjoy that scene where I think where they're threatening the Jewish guy, and like the guy is willing to die.
For his principles.
For his principles. So Tony goes out to call this guy he trusts, and then you see him like in a bathrobe, like
just sitting on the stairs,
going down the stairs, and it's like, okay, he's a dad, but he's a dad dealing with how to extortion this other guy. So I thought I really love
that. I did like that moment as well.
Those mix of like it doesn't have to be all over the top. It's like, okay, this over the top situation, and how you sprinkled it with everyday life nuances. Like he was just on his his bathrobe.
Yeah.
So I love that kind of thing. So I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, and I would say also, again, I'll come back to the ducks, because I think that was a great use of symbolism, and I think there's a lot of symbolism structured throughout, particularly the pilot episode, or like the is it when they're in the butchers, I think, and and I think it's his nephew who shoots that guy,
and the pigs
with the pigs in the background. It's a very symbolic moment, and also intercut with these Hollywood actors as well. Which do you have any idea what that was
referencing?
Yeah.
I don't remember who the actors were.
So I was wondering if they were like maybe Italian Americans,
maybe, or like mob related people, because I know that I think the whole thing with like Sinatra, for example, being involved also like in I don't know if that is true. I know that's like the legend.
That's what's said, yeah.
Yeah, that he was involved in the mafia. So I guess I don't know. Maybe it has to do with with everyone is in this business, like
everyone, yeah.
or like like anyone can be in this.
Or maybe it's also because I know that part of, I guess, the way you can summarize the show is, I guess, this critique of the American dream, maybe, or being part of something that's slowly disappearing. And I feel like Hollywood is that emblem of kind of reaching the top and making it big and being part of that American dream, and then also the dark side of that we're just witnessing, which is
and I think like the shot is like the photos and like blood comes on
I
them,
think so,
right?
yeah.
So maybe
Splatters.
it's like, okay, in order to get there you have to get dirty, maybe not as extreme
as murder,
as executing someone,
yeah.
but I think, I don't know, was it on the show? I think I read it then, that it said like this idea that the American dream is only possible through violence and through conniving, and it's an aggressive war. Like if you want to get the American dream, you have to be willing to
but I guess because also that maybe hangs in with just this idea of capitalism as well, the kind of dog eats dog mentality, a bit sort of exploitation or violating like other human beings, I think. It's I guess it's slightly weird that we're judging 3 episodes in one, but how would you rate these 3 this block, I guess, in terms of 1 to 10 ducks?
1 to 10 ducks. I think
it's kind of hard to judge because you don't know how the rest of it's going to be. How good it is in
like
comparison.
Like on its own, I think I would give it, maybe it's not so high, but maybe a 6. 6 ducks.
Okay.
Because I'm still like trying to. I think I've enjoyed them. I still haven't been maybe blown out of my mind.
Okay.
So far.
Okay.
But 6. I think 6.
Fair enough.
You?
Fair enough. I think altogether I would give it a solid 8 ducks.
Okay.
Because I think I was drawn into the character and their relationships, and there was already enough complexity there for me to know that I wanted to know more, and that they would hopefully build on that. And also, I think also just the direction, I think I was really impressed with, that it was quite artsy, I guess. That the direction was already very impressive. So, yeah.
Okay.
That's my judging of it. Like, I was already like, okay, I could watch more of this, definitely.
Okay. No, yeah, I'm definitely curious. Especially since I think it gets bigger.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see that.
Yeah.
But like we'll see how the next 3 episodes
things develop.
Yeah, and exactly.
Okay, well, hopefully you enjoyed this.
Yeah, hopefully we weren't too controversial.
You didn't say anything you didn't like.
If you have any thoughts on our comments or on these 3 episodes, please no spoilers because we haven't seen the rest.
Yes, please. And also, I mean, if you have any explanations or thoughts on what we just talked about, that'd be great. You can help enlighten us.
Exactly. Remember, if you know whether it was Martin Scorsese actually on
I would be interested. We're going to probably Google this right now.
Yeah. But no, thank you so much for listening to another episode of Elevator Pitch. We know that this was actually not an elevator pitch.
Pitching it to
I guess you could say that is pop culture pitching us The Sopranos.
Yeah.
Like we're caving in social pressure.
Culture. Yeah, exactly. We're caving into pressure.
Exactly, and we're watching it. But stay with us for the next episode
Please.
We're gonna go back
To what we do best.
do we
Do we though?
do
I
it
don't know.
best. No, but we're going back to our usual with a new film, and hopefully you'll be with us and listen to our very quirky comments.
Yeah. So hear you next time.
Yeah, this is Altair,
And I'm Hazel.
and see you next time. Bye.
Bye. If you like this episode, why not hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss another episode? And if that's still not enough, you can follow us on Instagram at elevatorpitch_pod to stay up to date with all the latest news.